where do most people in America put their money? Mutual funds. Most people in the world put their money in mutual funds. Well, that presupposes that somebody's going to actively study the market, and they're going to come up with a list of things to invest in, and they're going to do better than if I just owned an index fund, which is a simple word for you can own like 500, all the best companies, in the S&P 500, the top 500. You can own a piece of all of them with even $10,000, $1,000, $100. You get a piece of them all, a micro piece. So I can do that. If I do that, it costs me next to nothing, 14 basis points, 0.14 in cost, not 3%, which is like 3,000% more in expense, right? Compounded. So you go, okay, but a mutual fund manager is going to do better. But what's the facts? All the research out there, I don't care if I was talking to Ray Dalio, Warren Buffett says you're not gonna beat the index fund. So why would you pay for it?
That was the advice he gave his family. If he was gone, he said, put it in an index fund. Put it in Vanguard 500 index, let it ride, because you're not going to beat it.
Check this number out. If you're listening, you got to watch and listen. Over any 10-year period of time, 96% of all mutual funds don't match the market that you could have got for next to nothing.
Mm-hmm. And most mutual fund people who are telling you buy mutual funds, they don't even own their own mutual fund.
You read it.
They don't own the products.
I'm glad you read that.
They don't own the products.
The very people that are managing it, if it was so great, wouldn't they put their own money in it?
Right.
More than half have no money in their own mutual fund, not a dime.
And most of them are not what we would call financially free, depending on where they're at.
That means if 96% fail, 4% succeed. So your brain says, I'm smart, I'm going to find the 4%. Well, if you go to Morningstar and you pick the ones that are 5 stars, that's not going to be your 4% in most cases. So how are you going to do it? What are your chances of victory? What are your chances of picking the right one? So the best metaphor I can tell you is most people have played 21 or blackjack at some point, right? We all know play, right? You get to 21, you get above 21, you're screwed, you're out of the game, right? So let's say you and I are playing blackjack and boom, you get 2 face cards worth 20 points. If your inner idiot was to say, hit me, right?
Right.
Or you got to get a card, only one card will work. Yeah. You got an 8% chance of winning at blackjack with 2 face cards. You got a 4% chance of picking the right mutual fund. So when you get that, and then you look at Warren Buffett, and by the way, he bet a group of hedge fund guys 5 years ago, Protégé Partners, he said, you pick a group of hedge funds, pick the top 5 you want. Hedge funds, this is what the wealthy people invest in. And I'll beat you with the index, I bet you $1 million. And right now, it's not yet done, I think there's 4 more years left, but he's up like 20%,
no
25% above it. So I want people to know, when you read this book, you can read it 1 chapter a day, not as fast as I'm talking. You can take in the stories and examples. You'll understand
take one action a day.
And that's exactly what I do. It's roughly, there's a few small chapters, so it's a little more than that, but it's roughly a chapter a day. Now, if you're crazy like me, some people will do a section a week for 7 weeks.
I read it in 2.5 days.
If you're like me, that's what I was going to say. You're crazy like me. I just go swallow this thing in a weekend, but I'm crazy, but you can do whatever tempo you want. But what you're going to leave with this is you're going to be armed. You're not going to be taken advantage of. I did this book because in 2008, I come from a lot of pain, and I don't want anybody else to have pain. I mean suffering around economics. And like the guy that cut my hair couldn't put his kids through school anymore. A dear friend of mine, his retirement, which he thought he was 3 years away, is going to have to work for 20 more years. So I thought something's going to happen. Government's going to change the policies, the laws, and there was all this talk about it. In 2010, nothing's changed. And then I watched a documentary that I recommend anybody watch, but you need to be prepared to watch if you're going to do it. And it's called Inside Job, and Matt Damon did the vocals for it. But what they did is systematically walk through and show you exactly how how the economy was almost destroyed worldwide by a few number of people, and they show you who it is and how they did it. And then you see what their punishment was to be put in charge of the turnaround.
Right.
And then they taxed you and I and everyone else in this country and gave them our money for their mistakes. If you and I lost money, we lost money. They got our money under the guise of keeping the system put together. It is the greatest ripoff in the world. I mean, if you want to be angry, so when you end this thing, you're either totally depressed or totally angry. I'm the angry type when I see people take advantage of.
But now they have something they can grab your book and literally.
Well, that's what I did. I wrote the book for that reason. I wrote the book and said there's got to be an answer, and I got access. So since I got access, I'm going to go find something, and it's been a 4-year journey to bring this to people today. So I'm very excited for this day.
I know, worked so hard on it. 2 mindset things that I just thought were amazing in the book. One simple question I'd love you to talk about that you pose to people. You say, why do you invest?
Yes.
And I would love you to talk about how they usually answer versus what they should answer. Because I read that, and I'm fairly well read in this area, but I thought, that's brilliant. That one little distinction in their mind, if they knew why they invested and they knew the right answer to that, that might change the way they perceive their financial freedom.
Well, it's a good point. Most people, when you ask them why they invest, they don't really know. They'll say things like, well, so that, I can retire someday. Or they'll say something like, I have to build up my assets, or I got to build up my financial strength, or there's only one reason we invest. And when you lose sight of this, the financial system will eat you up. You're investing for income. Income is the only thing that'll buy you financial security and freedom. Income is what gives you your home. Income is what gives you food. Income lets you travel the world. Income lets you put your kids through college. Income lets you throw a party. Income is everything. And the reason I say that is many people, they'll say to me, I say, how you doing? They go, well, I built up $1 million in my 401k. And I go, you don't have $1 million in your 401k. I said, what do you mean? I said, well, first of all, half of that's the government's.
Right. The second you take
50,
any money,
50% tax back for this person. So you have $500,000. The person looks depressed. I said, better to know the truth because I can show you how to get free. But you have to know the truth. The truth will set you free, and better know it so we can do something about it. He goes, wait. He goes, but wait, I got tax. I said, you got tax deferral, but you could have done that in a different way, and all that money, that $1 million, would have been all of yours. And I can show you how to do that for the future, moving forward, what to do. But the thing is, you're looking for income. If you think about assets, you could build those assets up and you have a 2008 and all of a sudden half it's gone, and now what happens to your income? And also, when you talk to financial planners, which are interesting group of people, there's a study of the Financial Planning Association, I put it in the book, where they asked 2,500 financial planners, do you have a financial plan? And I couldn't even believe they answered it. 47% said they didn't have one themselves.
The ones who were willing to tell the truth.
Tell it in their own association they did it. And the reason is most of them are overwhelmed. The economy's changed so much. To be fair to them, it's like the cobbler's kids don't have shoes.
Right.
I mean, it's just like,
totally true.
Are you kidding me? So it's not enough to go to a financial planner. And most of them have been trained to say, okay, we're going to get you financially secure in your future retirement. So here's what we're going to do. How much income? You make $50,000, $100,000, $20,000? Okay, $100,000 a year. We needed 10 times that for you to have financial freedom. So
they're trying to get you towards an egg number.
That's right. And
right?
the egg.
We want this egg, this group of money.
Which is not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. In fact, it's a good idea to know what your target is. But they tell you it's 10 times, you make 100,000, it's 10 times that, it's $1 million. That presupposes that $1 million in a secure environment will give you a 10% return each year to give you 100,000 a year for the rest of your life.
Right.
$1 million
to
times
draw off
10%.
a certain amount of interest to get a check off that interest every single
So you
year.
can continue to live.
Right.
Because people used to live 6 years back in the 30s. Like 65, they made Social Security 65 because people lived to 62.
Average age 88 now, I think, for
It's
women.
87, yeah, for
84
women.
for men or something.
But in a couple, if you're married, 50% chance want to live to age 92. And the number's growing. So now we have 20 and 30-year retirements. So the number one fear amongst baby boomers is not death. Death is number two, but number two by percentages way down here. Number one is running out of money while I'm alive. And they should have that fear because most of them, 1 out of 3 baby boomers has $1,000 saved. So they have no source of income coming in. All they have is a little tiny check from Social
Pay
Security.
their heating bill for 3 months and be done.
They're done. They're completely done. So what I wanted to do is show people there's ways, just like there's, first of all, you want to invest where you can figure out what that number really is. And I show people how to do that in the book. And it isn't times 10. Then I show you how to make that number smaller by having tax efficiency, because every one of these great investors had certain things in common, and one was tax efficiency. Because if you earn more, but you don't keep more, what does it matter? Just like fees, the biggest bill you're ever going to pay in your life is taxes. And instead of being mad at the IRS, I just look at them as like Switzerland. Their job is to come in and take as much money as they can from as many people as they can. Your job is, with absolute honesty, with truth, and with the law behind you, and with total morality, to avoid as much as humanly possible.
To use the rules of the system, like you show, it's like, hey, look, did you know you can do this and keep this much more interest, and this much more interest over a period of time gains you this? I mean, it's just
you can save.
It's mathematical. That's why I think it bothers people. They're like, they don't like math.
But I show people, you don't have to know math, but I just show people, if I could show you how to retire 10 years earlier, or have twice as much money in the same time, or get to your goal 30 to 50% faster, would you want to know how? Well, the ultra wealthy know how to do it. But now, because of some changes that happened in the marketplace, average people with tiny amounts of money can do the exact same thing, and that money is now yours. And one more thing. Most people know the value of life insurance. We don't like it, but I don't want my family to get in trouble if I die. So most of us buy some life insurance. But there's another question. What if you live? You know?
Right.
I'd like some insurance that if I live,
I'll have
I'm
some
going to
money.
live well. So I was with Alicia Linnell, who's the head of retirement research for Boston College, one of the brightest women in the world, used to work for the Fed. And she said, Tony, one of the most exciting tools that's come out is they now have income insurance or longevity insurance. So when you're planning for your future, you only have so much money. You either try to rationalize it, hoping that it'll make it, and then maybe you don't get to use your money, or you run out. She says, what you can do with this is you can get some insurance now that says, if you live to this age, from that age on, for as long as you live, you have $50,000 a year. And it doesn't matter if you live 10, 20, 30 years. It doesn't matter how much money you've accumulated in investments. And it's brilliant.
Separate.
And it's cheap.
Right.
Like,
Wow.
how old are you?
36.
36, okay. I'm 50.
37. Gosh, I'm 37.
37, oh, that's good. You'll be doing that for a while. After 35, you keep forgetting. You always keep down. I'm 54 years old. I can't even believe it, that name. At my age, I can get some income insurance where I could put aside, I'm fairly well-to-do, so I have the ability to do larger numbers, but let's say I did one. I did one for $100,000, and I get $75,000 a year at the age of 80 for as long as I live. I lived to 95 years old, I get that. So 100,000 gives me 75 grand a year. You couldn't do that
Yeah, you couldn't even- you
in a
couldn't-
million years.
yeah, you couldn't.
I'm using a larger number, you can do a smaller number. And at your age, it's even better. You could say, I'm gonna take a tiny amount of money and it's got more time to compound, and they'll give you a policy that'll give you incredible income as long as you live. So the book is filled with ways to make sure you have income,
Yeah. And even
not
if you
assets
do,
that go
and
there.
even if you do, because most people watching, they might have life insurance, they might have
Yes.
policies, but you help them say, okay, let's talk about annuities here.
Yes.
And what did you get in your policy? Is the
Yes.
policy the thing that's actually going to print you income?
Yes.
And that was the brilliant part about it, because you take in a lot of people. People have 401ks, they have IRAs, they have life insurance, but they genuinely don't know anything about them.
They don't.
They got it because the company said get it, and they're losing money every single
day.
year. It's not compounding. Because
right.
it's not compounding, the financial wealth is just not happening for them. And so I think that's important people to understand. This is not just a book of big, bold, crazy new ideas. The formulas are there.
Yes.
What's also there is you probably already have these things.
That's right.
If you just made a different decision on each three of these buckets,
They change your entire financial life. Could be the difference between being
Completely
totally financially secure or having to be a greeter at Walmart at 65 or 70
that
years
was
old.
when I read it. I said the book is necessary.
Yeah.
For that reason,
Yeah.
because some people think about money and they go, I don't want big bold bets. I don't want to try things, and they always think that. Like you said, they
Yeah.
think it's a big hit. But you're saying in many of these chapters, here's what you probably already got going.
That's right.
Do you know this answer, and this answer? And if you just change it to be this answer,
It's money straight in your pocket. It's for
for
your life,
life.
for
For
as
life.
long as you live.
for life, I love that.
Yeah.
You've achieved so much. So what does financial freedom mean to you now?
Oh my gosh. Financial freedom means life on your terms. Financial freedom means living in the neighborhood that is safe for your family and beautiful and matches your ideal versus settling. Financial freedom means the capacity to bring any resource you need to make your family, your friends' life better. Financial freedom is, financial freedom, I'll give you an example of financial freedom. This is a long time ago. Because I chose to be financially free earlier on, right? Other than saying something I was going to get to someday. I remember I called my mom. We grew up really tough environment, as I said, and not pretty environments by any stretch of the imagination. And we always dreamed of being near the ocean. So I called my mom and I said, Mom, I've done well enough that I really think, I can't live there because I got to travel, but I think I can get this condo on the beach. And in Huntington Beach, it's a place we used to go and walk the pier. We'd drive 3 hours to go there, and it was just like this magical place. And I said, I want you to meet me there and help me decide whether I really do it or not. And she said, oh, of course I'll come. So she meets me, down there at the beach, and we go look at this condo, and it's this magnificent view, and it's just, a spectacular place. And she's like a little kid. She's so giddy. Oh my God, you gotta do it. I said, you really think so, Mom? I said, I don't know if I should do it. She goes, are you kidding me? You have to do this. This will change your life. To get up in the morning, walk on the beach, and smell the ocean air, and blah, 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 and you can walk to the pier. I said, you positive? She said, I'm absolutely positive. You gotta do this. I said, okay, and I handed her the keys. And she just stared at me. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know how to process it, And then she started crying, and I started crying. And I remember like it was yesterday. She's passed away now. She's been away for a while, but that's financial freedom. There's no amount of money, and there's nothing you buy for yourself that'll ever give you that kind of joy. There's nothing that meaningful as being able to do what you want for the people that you love and care about, and yourself. There's certain things that are priceless. Being able to do something for the people you care about without them having to ask.